Across the multiverse, there are multiple versions of the Infinity Gauntlet to wield, but among a group of marvelous villains, just who has been lucky, or rather resourceful and powerful enough to wield them?
Welcome back, Nerd Squad. It's me, Amanda.
And I'm your host, AJ, and today we'll be counting down the top 10 villains who've used the Infinity Gauntlet.
Who do you imagine could do the most damage with this item? Number 10, Thanos. Surprised? If you haven't been living under a rock for the past year, probably not. The Infinity Gauntlet became famous in the comics when it was assembled and wielded by none other than Thanos the Mad Titan. And in the movies, Thanos also became famous for doing the same. In fact, he became so famous for wielding it that most people think of the item as being completely his thing. While Thanos did create the gauntlet, the fact remains that he is not the only villain to have wielded it in the history of Marvel, which is why we're here to tell you about some other important villains who have also used its immense power against Marvel's heroes. However, not naming Thanos on this list would be criminal, considering just how iconic he has become thanks to his use of this extremely devastating weapon. If you're enjoying this video so far, you can support the channel by pressing that like, subscribing to us, and ringing that notification bell. Don't miss out on videos!
At number 9 is Darkseid. What? A DC villain? No way. The epic clash of comic book titans where the universes collide and heroes unite in the cataclysmic showdown titled JLA Avengers. The ultimate embodiment of power finds itself snugly fitted on the hand of none other than Darkseid himself. Darkseid, a name that resonates with ominous chords, is an embodiment of malevolence. His ambition is to conquer not just a corner, but the entire cosmic expanse, and with a gauntlet capable of reshaping the cosmos with a mere thought, the stakes couldn't be higher. But alas, as the story unfolds, we learn that within the DC universe, the gems themselves are like party decorations without the party. They might bedazzle the gauntlet, but the game-changing power they're renowned for are a no-show. Imagine, if you will, Darkseid strutting about Apocalypse, flaunting his new cosmic accessory, unaware that its universe-altering abilities have taken a vacation. The hero's grim dread turns into a sigh of relief as they realize that Apocalypse, while is no picnic himself, is unable to use the universe-warping chaos that those Infinity Gems could unleash. Since the gems are essentially worthless in his home reality, Darkseid casually throws the gauntlet away.
Number 8, Green Goblin. What? When did this happen? Did you miss it? Probably not, as this did happen in an alternate reality. Norman Osborn ends up getting the gauntlet and using it to basically prove himself to his father, and when this fails to work, even in a reality that he completely shaped himself, he gets so frustrated with his old man and being unable to impress him no matter what, despite being able to basically rule the world and bend all of reality to his whim. Yeah, even that doesn't impress old man Osborn much, that he chooses to wipe him from existence. Now, unfortunately for Norman, this also means he ceases to exist because, you know, if his father never existed, then how could he ever exist as he is now? Fortunately for main continuity Norman, this all goes down in a what if special, so despite his alternate reality Infinity Gauntlet wielding self ceasing to exist, Earth 616 Norman still gets to.
And at number 7 is Dr. Doom. And this isn't some alternate Doom from another universe either, nay, this is our very own 616 Doom. After seemingly sacrificing himself in a battle against the Mad Celestials, Dr. Doom awoke to find himself in the domain of the Interdimensional Council of Reed, which for those of you who don't know, is exactly what it sounds like, a multiversal consort of Reed Richards. But the council has definitely seen better days. Doom discovers the remains of the Reeds who fell in battle, and among these snapped elastic men is not one, but 2 Infinity Gauntlets. And after putting them on, he's greeted by a bunch of Doom sycophants who go ape over Doom's arrival. Actually, it's revealed that all these alternate Dooms are just lobotomized versions of himself that Reed Richards like to keep around for some reason. And thus begins Doom's plan of establishing his own collection of multiversal Dooms, which he would call the Parliament of Doom. Now armed with 2 Infinity Gauntlets, he journeys to the reality from which one of his gauntlets originated, found himself in a desolate world which he breathed new life into using his newfound cosmic power. Funny enough, in a world of Doom's own creation which fulfilled all of his desires, wedding science and magic together and becoming the ruler of his own life forms, he ends up getting overthrown by his creations who divided the gems among them. After getting rescued from this universe by Mr. Fantastic, Doom decided that he and Richards were now even.
Number 6, Thermos. If you're thinking that sounds similar to Thanos, you're right. The alternate reality version of Thanos, known as Thermos in the Marvel universe, also dubbed the Humorverse, also has wielded the Infinity Gauntlet, or at least its reality's equivalent. Did you know that alternate reality gauntlets only work in their own home reality? At least this is usually the rule. It's not always, but usually that's the rule. The same is true of the Earth 616 Gauntlet too. It only works within the Earth 616 universe. This alternate reality version of the gauntlet is of course much more goofy trophy hailing from the Marvel Universe and is known instead as the Infinity Mitten, resembling a baseball glove or mitten. As in the main continuity, Thermos still uses the item in an attempt to woo Mistress Death by eradicating mass amounts of life across the universe.
At number 5 is Killmonger from Earth 015335, the Black Ops soldier whose ruthlessness and combat ability earned him his nickname. In this reality, after many years away from Wakanda, Eric Stevens returned armed with the Infinity Claw, his reality's gauntlet, which he used to easily overthrow Wakanda and rule as its tyrant who easily transformed Wakanda into a dystopian nightmare. But eventually his reality would get a visit from multiversal threats from the Battle Realm who sought to take his Infinity Claw. Killmonger was ultimately defeated by this new multiverse-hopping Black Panther, who used Killmonger's pride against him by challenging him in a Wakandan combat ritual, which mandated the two fight against each other in hand-to-hand combat, unaided by powers or abilities. In this battle, T'Challa won, claiming the Infinity Claw for himself.
Number 4, the Maker. The Maker, I think, is one of the most deadly villains to have wielded the Infinity Gauntlet. He hails from the reality of Earth 1610, where he is the Reed Richards of that reality, also known as the Ultimate Reality. Reed Richards on Earth 616 is well known for being one of the smartest superheroes around, and also as leader of the Fantastic Four, known for his stretching abilities and leadership skills, going by the superhero name of Mr. Fantastic. However, in this reality, he goes from being the leader of the FF to a villain who ends up leaving the team to strike out on his own after the devastating loss of Ultimatum. Here, Reed proposed to sue Storm but was ultimately turned down, pun not intended. This, combined with his high intelligence, which in this reality makes him somewhat detached from humanity, turns him to the side of evil. At least, that's how the superheroes of his reality and others would likely see him. To Reed, though, he doesn't see himself as being quite so evil, and more sees himself as a man of science, who simply is willing to go where most others are not in regards to pushing the boundaries of scientific progress.
At number 3 is Magus. Adam Warlock, a character with enough cosmic power to light up 1,000 stars, gets his hand on the Infinity Gauntlet, but instead of going just all cosmic crazy, he decides to go senior year dissection on his own soul, splitting himself into two new entities, Goddess, the virtuous half, and Magus, the diabolical half. Now Magus, the evil twin, doesn't waste any time. He gets his hand on some cosmic cubes and decides to go head to head with Eternity himself. And if that's not audacious enough, he cooks up evil duplicates of Earth's mightiest heroes just for kicks. Now eventually in the pages of Infinity War number 5, he snatches up that gauntlet, and just when it all looks like the cosmic baddies got it all, it turns out that Thanos, you know, the purple, not so friendly guy with the wrinkly chin, had swapped out one of the gems with a fake. Smooth move, dude. This little switcheroo keeps Magus from going full cosmic dictator, though with 5 out of 6 stones in full use, he does get a taste of immense power. Long story short, Magus ends up defeated, shoved into the soul gem, and tucked away for a cosmic timeout.
Number 2, Thanos Contest of Champions. You can really never have enough Thanos on a list discussing villains who have wielded the Infinity Gauntlet. As I said earlier, whether we're talking main continuity comics or main continuity MCU, Thanos has become the most iconic villain associated with this weapon, so it should be no surprise that across the multiverse, he also often was found wielding it as well. In this case, we're talking about the reality of the Contest of Champions. Here, Thanos also wields the gauntlet. He attempted to use his gauntlet to battle against Black Panther, who wielded his own version of the gauntlet known as the Infinity Claw. Fortunately for our heroes, the villain lost to T'Challa, who bested him in combat. In the end, Thanos was defeated and ended up being trapped forever in a nightmare. Or at least, he would have been trapped forever in a nightmare if he hadn't been given the Death Stone by Hela and ultimately ended up escaping.
And at number 1 is old Saint Nick. Not only is Santa Claus real in the Marvelverse, but he also knows Tony Stark personally. Tony gathers up the Illuminati, no, not the secret society that thinks triangles are hip, but the superhero team that's all about handling the big global messes. And so Stark revealed to the Illuminati that Santa's reindeer had been Skrulls all along. So Santa wants to use the Infinity Gauntlet, the very thing that's responsible for ending half the life in the universe, so that he can deliver his presents in one night. The Illuminati, which I remind you is supposedly made up of the most brilliant minds on Earth, are all like, oh yeah, sure thing, Santa, of course, why not? I mean, it's not like it's the most dangerous weapon in the cosmos or anything, right? Priorities, you guys. The children, think about the children. So Santa gets his mitts on the gauntlet, and what do you think happens? Surprise, surprise, he goes all power drunk berserker mode and is only stopped when Namor the Submariner throws a snowball at Santa's face, allowing the gauntlet to slip from his grasp. After this battle, Iron Man hooks Santa up with some robotic reindeer, which naturally mean, begs the question, if he had the tech for robot reindeer all along, why did he even let Santa go all gauntlet crazy in the first place? Also, what happened to the original reindeer? Guess we'll never know. As always, if there's a villain who wielded the Infinity Gauntlet who we failed to include in this video, feel free to let us know down in the comments, and if this video does well enough, we'll include your suggestions in part 2. I'm AJ.
And I'm Amanda, and this has been Top 10 Nerd. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in another video.
Later, nerds.
Stay nerdy. Bye.